My husband and his childhood sweetheart rekindled their old flame in the. He even lectured me about not understanding art. I had intended to divorce him and take our son, but he wanted his childhood sweetheart to be a mother figure to him. No one wanted me anymore. But later, they cried, claiming they regretted it. On our 10th wedding anniversary, my husband Marcus was busy at the, saying he'd be home late. Little did I expect, less than 10 minutes later, he sent me this location pin. Smiling, I picked up the gift I had already prepared, thinking it was just his unique way of inviting me. When I arrived at the and pushed open the door, the smile on my lips froze instantly. Inside studio, paint was splattered everywhere, and the air was twisted and pungent. Marcus's childhood sweetheart, Sage, adorned with large blooming body paint, leaned bonelessly against him. The moment Marcus saw me, his body instinctively shielded Sage, but he couldn't hide the glaring hickeys on her neck. Even more jarring was the special hair ornament Marcus had personally crafted for me, now stuck in her hair. That special hair ornament was a token of our love. He once said his fingers were raw in several places from making it. Now, its shimmering tassels flickered in my eyes like mocking flames. I rushed forward like a madwoman to pull them apart, tears streaming down my face. Before I could even speak to question them, Sage's eyes reddened first, and she curled into a ball. Grace, why are you making such a fuss? Why are you so angry? You and Marcus have been married for so many years. Don't you understand that we're engaging in body art creation? She whined. After all, I'm sacrificing myself for art. I stared at her in disbelief, my body swaying. Marcus stood up, and I instinctively reached out for support. But he pushed me away mercilessly, strode past me without looking back, his voice full of complaint. Be careful, don't damage my lens. Why did you have to come now? Didn't I say I'd be home later? Are you that impatient? If your figure hadn't changed after giving birth, I wouldn't have sought out Sage. After all, Sage is the one bearing this burden for you. She's still so young, and her figure is good. She's willing to dedicate herself for me. I haven't even had a chance to thank her, and here you are, getting angry. Sage huddled in the corner, a sarcastic smile playing on her lips, watching me meaningfully. I couldn't help but step forward, but she immediately hunched her shoulders and neck, her eyes misty with tears. Marcus, I'm a respectable young woman. Grace acting like this, she won't go around spreading rumors, will she? Marcus's brows furrowed. He finally put down his lens and grabbed my arm. His attitude, shifting due to tension, transformed into a force that easily held me in place. Grace, don't be so unreasonable. Sage and I just have a professional relationship. What exactly are you angry about? I've been married to you for 10 years. Do you really have no trust in me? I felt utterly absurd, my anger boiling. I scoffed, work? You're telling me this is work? You two are completely entangled, practically intertwined. And you still have the nerve to call this art? Do you dare to show this art to the whole world? Marcus's face changed colors like a palette. He only cared about changing the subject. You don't understand me at all. Where's Noah? I only told you to take care of the child. Why did you leave him at home? I felt suffocated for a moment, as if a huge stone was pressing on my chest. When I gave birth to Noah, I suffered a difficult labor with heavy bleeding and almost lost my life. Marcus felt bad for me and told me to quit my job and stay home for my postpartum recovery period. He made a heartfelt promise that I only needed to take good care of our child, and he would work hard on his career to provide us with a happy life. Now, he was blaming me for not taking care of our child, all for the sack of his childhood sweetheart. Tears dried in the corners of my eyes, stinging terribly. Thinking of Noah, whom I had sent to my parents' place earlier that morning, his eyes full of reluctance, my heart was pierced. Marcus, you said back then that only I and our child were in your heart. Marcus turned his head, his tone indifferent. Grace, don't twist things around. Sage was just helping me find inspiration. This is just one time. You used to say you supported my work. Are you going back on that now? Look at you, how much your figure has changed. I had no choice but to find Sage. Besides, I also felt sorry for you. Getting paint on your body is very cold, and you wouldn't be able to handle it. Listen to me, I'll come home after I'm done. Don't worry, my heart will always belong to you. I clenched my fists, but this physical pain was nothing compared to the sorrow in my heart. To give birth, I was on an 4-drip for a week, and the hormones made me gain so much weight that I instantly didn't recognize myself. After giving birth, Looking at my messy hair and the disheveled state I was in because of pregnancy, I wondered if Marcus would care. Back then, he came to me, made me laugh, and said I would always be the one he loved, no matter how I changed. Now, the lie was exposed. Marcus's undisguised expression told me he was tired of how I looked. But he couldn't betray our relationship because of that, nor could he use my figure as an excuse to do such filthy things. I am not someone who would swallow my pride for the sake of it. I, Grace, only want a pure, exclusive relationship. Marcus, let's get a divorce. Our child will stay with me. Marcus, who had just been so self-righteous, froze instantly as if he'd heard something unbelievable. Grace, you don't have a job. Are you going to live a hard life with the child? Stop messing around. I'll spend time with you properly once I've finished shooting this inspiration. Don't act on impulse. A child can't be without a father. Sage, slowly putting on her clothes nearby, chimed in. That's right, Grace. Marcus is doing this for your own good. If you don't care about the child, I do. Why not give the child to me? I'd be more than willing. Marcus's face darkened, and he snapped. What nonsense are you talking about? That child was hard-won by my wife. After saying that, he looked at Sage's wronged face, paused, then spoke softly. It's the same if you become a godmother. Listening to Marcus's backhanded gesture, I felt sick to my stomach. I turned and left, planning to pick up my son and go back to my own place. But when I got to my parents' place, I saw them hitting their chests repeatedly in anger. And my son, looking up and constantly cursing. Dad, Mom, what's going on? Ignoring everything else, I quickly helped my parents sit down. Noah, still fuming with his neck stiff, didn't stop cursing when he saw me. Instead, he cursed even more vigorously. I don't want a mom like you. Everyone makes fun of me for having a fat mom, and Dad doesn't like you either. I like Aunt more. Grandma and Grandpa said Dad was supposed to marry Aunt, and it's all your fault. You made Aunt sad. And today you insisted on sending me to my grandparents' house. They smell, and I hate it. You also disturbed Dad and Aunt while they were working. You're a bad mom. I don't want you. I want Aunt to be my mom. I stared at him blankly, and by the time I came to my senses, I had fallen to the ground, with my parents' cries of what a disaster ringing in my ears. My son, whom I had painstakingly raised for 5 years, not only didn't stop cursing but also ran to me as I fell, raising his fists and hitting me. Punch after punch. It didn't hurt, but it made me bend over, whispering softly. Do you know what your dad and Sage were doing? Noah squirmed for a moment, then became self-righteous again. Dad and Aunt were doing what you used to do, so what? Isn't it good to have another mom? Mom, don't be so petty. Aren't you happy that I have 2 moms? Besides, Dad said he loves you the most, so why are you still unhappy? Aunt is clearly nicer to me. She's pretty and smells good, and she doesn't force me to play the piano. I can do whatever I want. It's such a shame she's not my mom. I slumped numbly on the ground, listening to these words as if punishing myself. I had also thought about losing weight, but it wasn't easy. Noah had always slept little and clung to me, so I spent most of my day revolving around him. Even when he said I forced him to play the piano, it was only because he liked it. He had initially begged me to supervise him, and I only pushed him gently, hoping he wouldn't have regrets when he grew up. But recently, Noah had been gradually distancing himself from me, constantly talking about Aunt. I had thought he became close to Sage just because she had played with him a few times. But I never expected him to harbor such thoughts. I chuckled self-mockingly, lifted my eyes, and asked with a trembling voice, if your dad and I divorce. Before I could finish, I was interrupted. Noah looked at me with an annoyed expression and said without hesitation, I don't want to be with you. I want to be with Dad and Aunt. The guillotine hanging over my head finally fell, pronouncing my ridiculous fate. My mom couldn't bear it and fainted. I forced myself to stand up, holding my breath, and made a call. Ignoring's flustered expression, my face was blank. The keypad lock at the door beeped, indicating an incorrect entry. I opened the door and saw an impatient Marcus and an affected Sage. I suddenly burst out laughing. Prying's hand off my clothes, I gently pushed him, finally making my decision. You can have the child. Don't let me, an outsider, stand in the way of your family's happiness. With that, I ignored a stunned Marcus, looked at the arriving doctors, and followed them to the hospital. Fortunately, she had only fainted from extreme anger. Looking at my mother in the hospital bed, I finally couldn't help but feel guilty, shedding silent tears. Grace, Dad supports your divorce. We won't suffer this humiliation. My dad stood by, filled with righteous indignation, wiping away tears. I choked out a good, "Dad, didn't you and Mom want to retire in Riverbend City?" Coincidentally, my friend invited me to start a business there. Once is better, let's move. Watching my dad repeatedly agree but with a pained expression, I managed a weak smile. I didn't tell them that I had prepared a grand gift for Marcus and the others. 3 days later, Marcus's art exhibition was held at the Grand. I saw my parents off at the airport, made an excuse about forgetting something, and rushed to the exhibition. For these 3 days, I had sent one divorce paper after another, but Marcus treated them as a joke. After being caught by me, Marcus didn't even bother to hide it anymore. He openly engaged in indecent acts with Sage at the, and my son, holding his kid's smartwatch, kept sending me videos of them shopping together. Sage, on the other hand, sent the videos to me, claiming it was to cultivate my artistic appreciation. Everyone thought I couldn't leave Marcus. Everyone believed I relied on Marcus to live, that I was just a housewife. Thinking of this, I looked at the 3 well-dressed figures in the center of the exhibition and felt only their disgrace. Sage seemed to sense something, looked at me, a trace of malice flashing in her eyes, and, holding Marcus and pulling Noah, swayed towards me. "Oh, isn't that Grace? What, regretting it now? I'd say you're just clueless, pushing away such a good husband and child. Look at yourself, you're not even worthy of Marcus. I always say, people with dirty minds see dirt everywhere." She gradually raised her voice, drawing the attention of those around them. Some even raised their phones. Seeing this, Sage became even more brazen, feigning injury. "Grace, it's fine if you misunderstood and me, but I swallowed my pride and apologized to you, and you wouldn't accept it. You even gave up the child and Marcus, you've really hurt their feelings." A flurry of whispers spread around me. A mother who abandons her child? It's the first time I've seen such a petty and vindictive woman, truly terrifying. Marcus, seeing the scene, finally spoke. "Apologize to us, and I'll forgive you, Grace. You need to understand, I haven't done anything wrong to you." "That's right, Mom. You even abandoned me for your own sake." They spoke one after another, pinning me firmly to the pillar of shame. I watched the increasing crowd, and finally burst out laughing. "Marcus, instead of spouting such high-sounding words, why don't you let everyone enjoy what you called your greatest artwork? Since you're reluctant to release it, I'll help you." Saying that, I looked at the large screen in the center of the exhibition and pressed the remote control in my hand without hesitation. Instantly, the so-called art video captured everyone's attention. Ambiguous sounds filled the entire exhibition. Many instinctively covered their faces but couldn't stop their eyes from continuously looking towards the protagonists. "This is art. This is a source of inspiration. I didn't want to, but you're too fat. I don't want you, I want Aunt." Video after video, along with screenshots they had sent me during this period, and recordings I had made in advance, were all played out in full detail. The situation instantly reversed, and more people began to look at the 3 with contempt. A young woman suddenly spoke up. "Mr. Marcus, are you trying to fool us like we're idiots? Is this what you call art? No wonder you didn't dare to release it. I think the reputation of artists is ruined by people like you. You act like anything goes when you claim to dedicate yourselves to art, right? This is blatant infidelity, so stop pretending." Bystanders nodded continuously, and the successive sounds of cameras clicking clearly captured the humiliated trio. Marcus couldn't bear it and looked at me imploringly, begging in a low voice. "Grace, explain it to them, please. You understand, don't you? It was truly just performance art, and besides, I never intended to divorce you, did I? I was just angry about your attitude these past few days, which is why I deliberately got close to Sage. I apologize, okay? Please stop it now, don't play anymore." I quietly watched Marcus, who had finally dropped his arrogant demeanor, and felt only boredom. My gaze shifted to Sage and Noah, who were hiding behind him. When I made eye contact, his eyes lit up, and he took 2 steps, reaching out to take my hand. "Mommy, I was just saying angry things. Can we go home, please?" I took a step back, as if avoiding something disgusting. He stood there, at a loss. Looking at Noah, who was practically a carbon copy of Marcus, I said faintly, "Noah, you know everything, and what you said was truly how you felt." Since that's the case, I'm setting you free, so why aren't you happy? Your sage can be your mother now, so stop bothering me. After all, I don't need an ungrateful ingrate as a child. The older and younger one seemed pierced by my words, pursing their lips and not daring to step forward. I sneered, feeling that 10 years of my youth had been wasted. I gave up my career, a bright future, and poured my heart out to them, only to end up with nothing. My friend once said, marriage is a state where women often lose their minds. I used to think that was too extreme, but applied to myself, it was entirely true. As the video finally neared its end, as if suddenly realizing something, Marcus pulled Sage, who had been silent and playing the turtle behind him, and eagerly tried to take credit. Grace, are you jealous? I only had involvement with her for art, there was nothing else. I know you're angry. I'll cut ties with her right now, okay? Sage looked up in disbelief, unable to believe Marcus could so easily disregard her. She might as well have gone for it, directly grabbing Marcus's face. Marcus, you're not going to deny it after you're done? I'm telling you, don't even think about it. Watching the two fight without restraint, while Noah hesitated nearby, afraid to step forward, I finally felt a sense of relief. As early as when they had angered my mother to the point of fainting, I had no intention of letting them off the hook. Now, after this ordeal, they wouldn't be able to recover. Thinking of this, I smiled, turned around, checked my watch, and walked out with light steps. The flight was about to depart. It wasn't worth my time to waste it on a play that had already ended. Soon, I arrived in Riverbend City, and my friend, holding a large sign, waved at me with a bright smile. My parents kept peeking out nearby, and after seeing I was alone, they breathed a sigh of relief. Good that they didn't follow, good that they didn't follow. My has finally gotten rid of those disgusting people. My parents still seemed angry, so I smiled, put my arms around them, and coaxed them towards the house. Over the years, I hadn't simply been a stay-at-home housewife. In the little time I had, I took on some freelance work and earned a sum of money. I had planned to buy a house here for my parents' retirement, preparing a surprise for them in advance. By a strange twist of fate, it had now become our new home. Once everything was settled, I breathed a sigh of relief and went out to buy groceries to prepare dinner. But on my way home, a little girl rushed up and clung tightly to my leg. She looked very thin, her hair dry, but her eyes were very bright. Mommy, Mommy, I was stunned, looked around suspiciously, and seeing her constantly staring at my bag and swallowing, I finally felt helpless. After a while, I took the girl, who was nibbling on chocolate, to the station. But after the results came back, I looked at the care agency's address and fell silent. Mommy, are you sending me back? As if realizing something, she stopped eating her chocolate and stared intently at me. I opened my mouth, wanting to say I wasn't her mother, but in the end, I simply held her hand and took a taxi to the care agency. The director had already received the news. Seeing us, she kept muttering, "This child, how did she suddenly run off? I wonder if she heard something." Sigh. I didn't say much, only promised the girl I'd make time to visit her every week, then returned home. Mom looked at me, anxiously asking, "Why were you gone so long? Are you okay?" I looked at Mom, thinking of the information I had inquired about from the director, and didn't speak for a moment. This little girl had been abandoned at the entrance of the care agency with no issues, simply because she was a girl. It wasn't that no one had adopted her, but she had been returned twice, simply because those two families conceived their own biological children and no longer wanted her. I also asked her why she called me Mommy. She said she had watched me all the way. I looked unhappy, but I was still willing to give a hot dog to a stray cat we passed. She thought someone like that, if willing to be her mother, would never abandon her. I sniffled, holding back tears. During my time off, I frequently visited the care agency, and finally decided to adopt her. After getting my parents' support, I brought a gift, carefully knelt down, and tentatively asked her, "Would you be willing for me to be your mommy?" "Yes, I would. I've been waiting for so long." She plunged into my embrace without hesitation. I held her tight, my eyes slowly welling up. Perhaps fate saw how much I had suffered, and that's why it sent me such a treasure. And this, perhaps, was a beautiful beginning. After my friend heard the news, she teased me about getting a little angel. When she came to my house, she quickly grew fond of my daughter, even declaring she'd compete with me for her affection. My daughter, Luna, just looked at me, shook her head, and said firmly, "I love Mommy the most." I smiled, watching them playfully bicker. The divorce proceedings in court were also progressing smoothly. But when I returned home laden with shopping from the mall with my daughter, I saw Noah, along with his grandparents. Noah stood there, anxiously stomping his feet, his hair noticeably longer and unkempt, poking his eyes occasionally. He rubbed his eyes, suddenly saw me, and his eyes lit up. Just as he was about to rush over, he noticed my daughter and immediately went wild, shouting, "Mommy, who is she? You don't want me anymore? But I'm your biological child. She's just a girl. Grandma and Grandpa said girls are worthless. Why does she get to steal my mom from me?" My daughter's hand in mine flinched. My face darkened as I looked at him and snapped, "Noah, if you can't learn to respect people, then shut your mouth." Noah froze for a moment, and tears immediately streamed down his face. "Mommy, you never used to yell at me. I was wrong, I regret it. Dad doesn't care about me, he said I couldn't keep you. Aunt doesn't care about me either, she even hit me and said I was useless for not being able to keep Dad, that she was nice to me for nothing. They weren't sincere with me at all, only Mommy was good to me." Saying this, he lowered his head and mumbled. My kindergarten classmates even asked me why I didn't want my own mom, saying they thought I was happy, that Mom prepared everything for me, and Mom never missed any activities. It's me, I didn't realize Mom loved me. But I'm your child, Mom. Please don't abandon me. I quietly watched Noah, who was sobbing in front of me, and sighed. He looked at me with expectation, but I recalled something I had found at home. That was the source of my mother's fainting spell. It was also the proof that the child I raised didn't love me at all. It was Noah's journal from when he first started remembering things. At first, it was drawings. He would always heavily cross me out with a black pen among the 3 figures. When he could write, he would even use pinyin to express his dislike for me. Later on, he even replaced me with sage. Noah was a very clever child, so much so that if I wanted to dismiss this as innocent child's talk, I would only be deceiving myself. Looking at the uneasy Noah in front of me, a slight ripple still stirred within me. "Noah, I've seen your journal." Noah's face instantly turned pale, and he clutched the corner of his clothes, mumbling, afraid to speak. I shook my head, turned, and pulled my daughter, intending to leave. My former mother-in-law and father-in-law, who had been standing by like background figures, finally couldn't hold back and stopped me. My former mother-in-law looked at me and gently urged, "Grace, I know you're resentful, but this family can't fall apart, can it? For the child's sake, can't you just turn a blind eye? I promise, I'll definitely keep an eye on Marcus from now on. He just made a mistake, it's not a capital offense." I sneered and retorted, "You want me to pick up scraps? Why should I? Besides, haven't I fulfilled your wish for Sage to be your daughter-in-law? Stop bothering me. I'll pay child support. As for anything else, don't even think about it. Everyone should pay the price for their choices. There's no reason why, just because I'm a mother, I should sacrifice myself for this. I have a clear conscience regarding my child, but if he is rotten to the core, if he turns the blade on me, I won't be a saint." Ignoring their attempts to stop me, I drove straight home. My friend heard about what happened to me and immediately rushed over, fuming. "That scumbag Marcus, that coward. He's too afraid to come himself, so he uses his child as a shield, right? What a loser. He doesn't even have the sincerity to reconcile." I covered my daughter's ears, helplessly watching her curse without repeating herself. They still have the nerve to say Marcus was trapped. What, a grown man can't even break free from a woman? What a wimp. You wait, I'll call my brother over to protect you, so you don't get pestered again these next few days. I waved my hand, saying it wasn't necessary, but the next day, my friend's brother and I stood facing each other awkwardly in the living room. My daughter looked at him warily, standing in front of me. "Who are you? Are you here to steal Mommy?" No one can force Mommy against her will. I immediately burst into laughter, hugged my daughter, and kissed her. She shyly hid in my arms. My brother, Liam, scratched his head, looking at me awkwardly. "Do I look like a bad guy?" I chuckled, finally stood up, and said, "You've really gone to so much trouble. Let me treat you to a meal." "It's fine, your sister was just too worried about me. You can go back after we eat." But the slap in the face came unusually fast, as if they had sent in the big guns after the small ones. Marcus stood straight, blocking my path. He was wearing the clothes from the day we became official, and he managed a weak smile, handing me a painting. "You always said you wanted me to paint a painting for you as a birthday gift. I stayed up for 3 days to paint this. See if you like it?" I casually glanced down. The painting depicted me giving a speech at my alma mater. At that time, I hadn't had children, my career was steadily rising, and my eyes were full of confidence. For a moment, I felt a little dazed, as if I hadn't seen myself like that in a long time. Grace, I really love you. I just went astray for a moment, lost my mind temporarily. I've already cut ties with Sage. You don't know how difficult she is to deal with, it was so hard for me to come and find you. So? I asked Marcus, who was gradually trying to take credit, my face expressionless. You don't expect me to be touched just because you rejected Sage for me, do you? How audacious of you. Who do you think you are? See. Heating and calling it performance art, using a pretense to engage in illicit affairs, and still showing no remorse. Marcus's, you are truly disgusting. Marcus's face was ashen, and he argued unwillingly. But I've been ruined because of you. She was the one who wouldn't leave me alone. My heart is only for you. I scoffed, for me? Get it straight, you willingly filmed those videos with Sage. Don't spout high-sounding nonsense. If you don't find it disgusting, I do. Get out of my sight and don't come back. After I spoke, my brother Liam immediately came over and stood in front of me. Finally noticing him, Marcus opened his mouth and pointed, saying indignantly, Grace, how long has it been, and you're already with someone else? Are you betraying me? I frowned in annoyance, and just as I was about to speak, Liam spoke first. A person with a dirty mind sees dirt everywhere. Do you think Grace is like you? Yes, I have feelings for her, but I'm just pursuing her, she hasn't agreed. And thank you for letting go of such a wonderful woman, giving me a chance to pursue her. Marcus's face turned red from Liam's sarcasm, and he completely broke down. I'm her husband. As if that wasn't enough, Liam grinned and said, not for long. With that, he took my daughter and me, and while Marcus stood stunned, we went straight home. Once we got home, Liam was the first to apologize to me. I'm sorry, I just said that on purpose. I couldn't stand his hypocritical attitude. I just wanted to annoy him, especially since he didn't appreciate someone as good as you. I chuckled, looking at him, and comforted him, it's fine, you actually helped me. Presumably, Marcus wouldn't show up for a long time after this humiliation. Without further distractions, my friend and I quickly immersed ourselves in our startup. I was in charge of the technical department, busy with overall project analysis, framework construction, and interviewing for technical roles. It was like one person doing the work of three. Liam looked at me and complained to his sister, Sis, you're a total slave driver. Who works people this hard? My friend pursed her lips and retorted, you don't understand. Back then, Grace was #1 in our major. I simply couldn't let such an outstanding talent go. If she can work, she should work more. It's a blessing for her to have a boss like you. I shook my head helplessly and immersed myself completely in my work. For me now, being busy was actually a good thing. I needed more achievements to prove myself. The high-intensity work quickly made me lose weight, and the half-day's work had also made progress. Soon, reporters came to interview our company, specifically requesting to speak with my friend and me. Excuse me, what was the initial intention behind starting this company? I see it's an all-female company. My friend looked at me. I looked at the microphone held up to my mouth, pondered for a moment, and said, our initial intention was to give all women who were screened out for various reasons a chance to showcase themselves. Unmarried women are asked when they'll marry, married women without children are asked when they'll have kids, and married women with children are asked if they plan to have a second one. In short, it's not that they aren't excellent, it's just that they lost opportunities due to various considerations. We don't want that to be the case. We just want to give women a chance to show what they can do, that's all. The reporter's eyes flickered. Just as she was about to say something, the door was pushed open. My team member, frowning, handed me a phone and said worriedly, Ms. Grace, take a look, she just blew up online. I looked down to see that Sage, who had been quiet, suddenly made a move. I knew she had her own account and a certain number of followers. But I never expected her to dare post something accusing me. The founder who champions independent women, yet abandons her husband and I'd. My team member stared fixedly at the phone, then suddenly looked up at me and said, Ms. Grace, we all believe in you. Just tell us if you need anything. I smiled, a warmth rising in my heart. Looking at the reporter, who was also frowning, I extended an invitation. In that case, why don't we reveal the truth of the matter? Sage's post contained chat screenshots of Noah complaining about his mother abandoning him. Taking things out of context is the easiest way to stir up a reaction online. Soon, I was being lambasted. The initial scandal, due to Marcus's timely suppression, had remained localized. I originally thought it wasn't enough, but Sage provided the perfect opportunity. Leveraging this online public opinion, I directly posted all the evidence from that time, along with unreleased recordings, online. At the same time, the reporter's exclusive interview was also published. The art exhibition incident was exposed. With the evidence, netizens felt they had been used as tools, causing an uproar. The backlash consumed Sage. She finally couldn't bear it, deactivated all her accounts, and shamefully withdrew from everyone's world. The truth was revealed, and the company, riding this wave of attention, firmly established itself in the industry. I went downstairs, intending to take a walk and clear my head, but I saw Marcus, who had arrived belatedly. He continuously apologized and pleaded. "Grace, it's my fault. I didn't expect her to do something like that. I went looking for her, but couldn't find her, so I thought I'd come here and spend some time with you, maybe you'd feel a little better. I'm sorry, I know I was wrong, but it was all that crazy woman's doing. Grace, we've been together for 10 years, can't you really give me one more chance? We still have our child, too. He doesn't even acknowledge me anymore. He says it's all because of me that he doesn't have a mother. Even for the child's sake, please come back, okay?" I looked at the man in front of me, who was always a step behind, feeling no ripple in my heart. I also couldn't recall when Marcus became the absent one in our family. But whenever I made a mistake, he would always promptly pop up to assert his presence. "I told you not to do that. Look at you, you can't even do this little thing right. Grace, you don't even have to work. Haven't I been good enough to you?" But I was the one who worried about all the big and small things at home. He once said he wouldn't let me suffer any grievance. Before we married, his parents disagreed, but he stood firm for 3 months for me, and they finally relented. Back then, he spun me around, saying he had finally married the woman he loved most. But people do change, after all. Promises made in youth are the least resilient to the test of time. But ultimately, it was Marcus himself who was flawed. I ignored Marcus's pathetic kneeling pleas and went straight upstairs. The security guards stopped him. Liam, seeing the scene downstairs, offered to walk me home. My home wasn't far from the company, just a 10-minute walk. Sure enough, Marcus followed us, keeping a short distance. My daughter was waiting at the door. When she saw me, her eyes curved into smiles, but when she noticed Marcus not far away, her face fell, and she said, "Why does he make mommy angry and keep coming back again and again? He doesn't respect mommy at all." I froze. After a long moment, I smiled. It's a simple truth even a child understands, yet some people seem blind, insistent on bringing themselves misery. After coaxing my daughter back inside, I stepped out the door, intending to settle things once and for all. Sage burst out from somewhere and stood defiantly in front of Marcus, her face contorted as she tore open her clothes. Large swaths of paint covered her body. She shrieked hysterically, "Didn't you say you liked doing body art creation with me? Why don't you like it now? Tell me. I painted the paintings you like. Look at M.E." Marcus dodged an alarm, hastily covering his face, terrified of being recognized. He even pleaded with me, "Grace, please, let me hide." I looked down at the absurd scene before me and merely scoffed. "So, you know too, just how sordid your art truly is." I immediately called the station. Soon, the police arrived and took them both away. As for Marcus, since he was the at-fault party in the marriage and the circumstances were severe, the divorce ruling was quickly handed down. Sage, after being released from the station, in a fit of mental instability, soon after tracked down a drunken Marcus and stabbed him, incapacitating him. In a flash, she was sent to the hospital, but after it was discovered she committed the crime while mentally sound, she was sentenced to a term of punishment. As for Marcus, whose future was now ruined, he became disoriented and lost, him and Noah despising each other's presence, constantly blaming one another, yet forced to remain tied together. They were both filled with immense regret, but nothing could be undone. Holding my daughter, standing with my parents, we happily shouted cheese, as the photographer worked, and the developed family portrait was placed in the most prominent spot in our home. My happiness had quietly arrived. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section and welcome your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.